Hello, guys. This is Coach Pasamba Jow. I am here again. See, what do we call this? Penchi PDOIS to have a conversation with you about our country and, of course, my party, the DOI. About our country. And I hope you are having a wonderful very core because it's that time of the year again. And I know the people, ñi nga xam ne, the gains and the seconds, I know that they are not very happy because I know that they cannot deal with very core. But anyway, to wish every Muslim Ramadan Mubarak, and I hope that ñun ñëpp dinañ ci dugg si jàmm génn si jàmm. And then ñi nga xam ne nag suñu ooree di tàngal, I hope that they would at least take it easy during this period. I must first apologize because I was supposed to be joined by Mr. Idrissa Jallo, the secretary to the political bureau of DOI. Why, unfortunately, due to some last-minute glitches, that will now have to be postponed to another date. But notwithstanding, we'll still be here to talk about issues that are pertinent to our country. This is Ramadan. Ramadan happens to be the most challenging periods for Gambians, especially Muslims, because it's very expensive. Is one time being happening, almost everything, all the commodities become very, very expensive in that country. And our people suffer greatly to be able to deal with such a situation. Because malo is extremely, extremely expensive. Diwlin fumnekani wahinopi. Even meat, kilo yapa dega ay 250 to 240 per kilo. Imagine now, so toga very core. It's a different situation because tanga ampul toga, what do you call it? Dogu, rare, akheda. So meaning where Gambians you very timey when there is no very core, they can go with okay duma and naka duma dewo duma rare why and would be provided. Now this is where you have to be able to have all these things. And there is absolutely no doubt our people are suffering, and it is a sad thing. Gambia from the one thing that everybody talks about or the high cost of commodities. And this is why it is important for all of us to be very mindful of the decisions that we make. Elections do have consequences. And this is where it is important. When we vote for leaders whose heart would beat in unison with the hearts of the suffering people. We cannot just continue to just do business as usual, vote for somebody because of Yamaner, vote for somebody because Moyola Ham, vote for somebody because of Yola Bokal. Our votes must be based on competency. And we as a people must not expect anything less from our leaders. Because if we continue to act like our votes do not matter or are not important, then didn't continue the Sani Karta. And this is where it becomes very tricky. Sani Karta and Denka Karta dafa uti. So Sani Karta is just like you just throw it and give it to anybody for any reason. waaye carte joxe ko dénkaane la war a nekk in that ne da ngaa jël sa carte dénk ko somebody and dénkaane bi mooy lan mooy ne dinaa la dénk suma carte bi ngir maa ngi laa dénk suma réew maa ngi jël li nga xam ne mooy suma alali réew jël ko jox la ko nga amee ko waaye dinaa la ko jox pour juróomi at yooyu noonu su paree di nga ñëwaat si man ma jël la compte bi mooy lan dinaa seet li fi def su fekkee ne li fi defoon doy na ma ah ma delloo la dénkaat suma carte gi ne la téyel ma ko ba tey su ma doyut nag ma jël keneen jox ko carte bi. That's the essence, the very essence of elections and democracy. If you look at the Gambia today, I'm sorry, I'll be mixing it up, here and there. It's just a conversation. If you look at the Gambia today, and you look at the trajectory of our country over the past 4 years, you'll see a country that is not moving. A country, the aspirations of the people have been betrayed. Because we believe that after 4 years, we would have seen a different type of Gambia. But like CDA would say, what we have, if we want to be honest, is old wine in new bottle. And this is the period for us as a people, as a country, to make that change from December, where we'll now go to the polls fully informed and make the decision, the choice that will be beneficial not only to us alone, but to our country and our people. You look at a country like the Gambia, a population of about 2 billion, almost 60% of that population live in abject poverty. And what that means is most of these people live on less than $2 a day, less than $100 a day. And these are people who are fasting. These are people who have to provide for their families. But these are people who also have to eat food that is nourishing. Lekka boo xam ne du feesal biir waaye dafa dundal yaram. It's important. You have to be able to eat food that nourishes the body. Because what that does is it helps with your overall health. But what has become the norm is that our people will just eat so that they would have something in their stomachs, not to be hungry, just to sustain themselves, to have the energy, but lack the nourishment that is needed to give you a very healthy life. And after you've consumed that food, what comes next? Sickness comes. You go to a hospital, which is almost empty, no medication, or if there is medication, it will be a prescription that you are given and asked to go to a pharmacy to buy those medications. The person that cannot even provide for oneself now has to run to a pharmacy to get those medications. I was just reading Fourier this morning, and there is a lady, and I want to challenge all of us here, those who can. There is a lady who is a widow. Let me look for the story. I looked at it, and it saddened me. The lady is, the story is mother seeks financial assistance to pay her child's medical bills. A mother of a 16-year-old school-going child is seeking $8,500 to pay her daughter's medical bills. The lady is a widow. The husband is dead. Said her daughter began developing chest pain in her early stages, and since then she has been running up and down for the child's treatment. So this lady, the only thing that this lady needs to take care of her child is $8,500. The contacts, if you're watching and want to help, the lady can be reached at 209 4065, 209 4065, or 678 6142. Or you can contact Foraya to be able to help this lady. But you see, when I read this, and it really saddened me, is the lady speaking. I'm in dire need of help. This is affecting my daughter's schooling. I'm calling on any person, philanthropist, organization, group of persons, institutions, government, among others, to support my daughter. And you see, the sad thing about our country, when you have so many of these ladies who are there, every day you open the newspaper, every day, this is what you hear. My child wants to go to school, does not have the money to pay for it. My child wants to is sick, I don't have money to buy medication. So our people are suffering and they are dying needlessly. Like Ibrahim saw, the number for the lady is 209 4065, 209 4065, and the other number is 678 6142, 678 6142. And you have these things that they are happening. But the sad part, though, Moy, if you look at our country today, when a minister gets sick, when the president gets sick, they run to the nearest embassy with their diplomatic passports. Visas are issued. They take the next plane to Belgium, to the United States, to the UK, to France, to wherever to get treatment. So they are not mostly concerned by the conditions of our people, meaning that you cannot elect a leader who cannot feel or understand your suffering. This is fundamental. So every day you open the Gambian newspapers, it doesn't matter whether it is Foraya, whether it is The Point, whether it is Standard, whether it is Voice, any newspaper, all you see is, I'm seeking for help for my daughter to go to school. I'm seeking for help for my son to get medical attention. I'm seeking for help because my wife, this is the thing that happens. Lamin Ture, the reason why the lady needs help, you can check Foraya. Is the daughter is sick and she needs $8,500 is to be able to buy medications for the daughter. And according to the Foraya article, and according to the lady, this is affecting the daughter's education. I know some of us in the diaspora, sometimes we like, do not fatigue. But this has become the reality of our country. But it should not be this way. There should be a better way. And because there should be a better way, this is why DOI has a solution to Gambia's problems. A solution that is the resources, the taxes that we get will be injected into the productive sectors of the economy to benefit the people. That we will have hospitals that are not just empty buildings standing, beautiful buildings standing, but hospitals that are meant, that fit the purpose. That lack of wealth will never lead to the jeopardy of one's life. Because we'll make sure that we'll have our hospitals that are run by qualified doctors and nurses and whatever personnel. But they will also be equipped to be able to fully participate and to fully function and do their job. And we will raise this burden, erase it from the shoulders of our people by making healthcare a human rights. Healthcare should be a human rights, and healthcare will be a human rights in a DOI government. We'll make healthcare to be readily available to any and every Gambian. We can do that. The Gambia is a very small country. It's just twice the size of Delaware. The amount of opportunity or interest that these people have to have all this, what do they call it? These barriers that they put on the roads when you're moving around, they put it everywhere because security matters to them. Checkpoints. If interest was put in providing healthcare for our people as much as they do in providing security for the elite, maybe we'll be going somewhere else. You look at reading the paper, the OIC is coming to the Gambia, they say 2022. And there is this supposed agreement signed to build a hotel that will cost $100 million, $50 billion. Are you listening to me? $50 billion. That's what they said they want to use. It's about 50 billion or $5 billion. That's what they want to use to build a hotel. It's $5 billion. Sorry. They said to build a hotel. Imagine if that money was used, whatever arrangement that they are trying to make, you can build 10 first-class hospitals in the Gambia, each $10 million. 10. In every region, you can build very solid, well-equipped hospitals for our people. Of course, the OIC, nobody is saying it's important or not important, but it's a short-term thing. The guests will come. The economy will have, a boost. People will go away. The hotel will stay. And then it will be among other hotels that are there. And what's going to happen now? The competition to win people to come and stay there during tourist season. That is why it might fail. But imagine if you were to build hospitals that are fully equipped to run in that country. You have one, the Basse Health Center. You upgrade it to become a major hospital in the URR. Mansa Konko, you upgrade to become a major healthcare center in that area. Birkama, you do the same thing. Parafenye, you do the same thing. You go to all these areas and build very solid, well-equipped hospitals for our people. Can you imagine the long-term benefits that would have for our people? And this should be the thinking. And because you see, developments does not just happen on a whim. It takes strategic thinking, where you weigh all options. What are the immediate, the short term, the long term benefits and implications of such an undertaking? Then you analyze it. You look at the money that has been that is supposedly being invested in it. What are the shortcomings? What are the benefits? You look at all that. You analyze it. You look at all the impacts that it would have: environmental impact, economic impact, all the other impacts. And then you say, you know what? After doing all these things, this is a project that the Gambia needs. You see, we have to now go from wants to need. What you need and what you want are two fundamental things that every government must weigh. What are the immediate needs of the Gambian people? What do Gambians want? Weigh the want against the need and see what is sustainable and what may be in the long term benefit of our people. And a Doi government will do this. That's why it will not enter into any contract that would give what? Our ocean to the EU and said you come and fish tuna, which is one of a very, very expensive fish in the West, and pay us what 550,000 euros a year when they'll be making millions from their catches. Because you see, when you govern a country, you must be guided by one thing and one thing only: love for country. If you love your country, if you love your people, you will never enter into a contract that disadvantages your people. But for too long, what is the interest of the people has been relegated for what is politically expedient. Because the people who are focused on politics see nothing but what benefits them now. The people who are focused on country and people will always look at the long-term benefits of a nation. And sometimes would take decisions that may not be too popular. But eventually the people will see that. And this has been proven right by Doi so many times. Because every time a situation happens in our country, and Doi speaks, immediately after speaking, they would get attacked, they would get ridiculed, and everything. But within always a year of their speaking, the language that Doi spoke would now become the language of the day because people will start saying, because the thing is, when Doi looks at an issue, they're not looking at what benefits us politically. They look at what benefits the nation. And when you look at things from that angle, you're looking at need and not want. Those that look at what is politically expedient will be focused on want. I don't know whether you see what I'm talking about. Linga buga ak linga soxla dafa uti. Buga ak soxla dafa uti. It's just like nga buga coke, you tegal la ndox ak coke. Nga ne man de coke la buga. Ngir coke moo gën a neex ndox. Waaye ndox moom la yaram gi gën a buga di coke. Ngir coke dafa yàq yaram, ndox dafa dundal yaram. Xam nga yaa ngi gis wax. And this is the difference between Doi and, if I may say, all political parties in the Gambia. Because Doi was built on a very strong foundation. A foundation that was meant for the long-term benefit of a people and a country. And this is why, when it was most convenient to engage in the politics that was nothing but just to hoodwink people, I said, nope, we are not doing that. Instead, You're going to focus on politics that will uplift the Gambian people. So this is the difference. But like I was saying, the first segment about this very core, this Ramadan, as you fast, especially here in the diaspora, please, please think about the overwhelming majority of Gambians who are struggling to even put food on the table for their families. Not because we lack the resources to give our people opportunities, but because we've been making mistakes of having the wrong leadership to run our country. A country that is endowed with as much resources as ours cannot continue to have the overwhelming majority of our people living in abject poverty. We have some of the most beneficial things in natural resources. When you say natural resources, people will talk about, oh, the diamond and gold. No. You look at our country, it's so fertile, the land. You can grow anything any day of the year and it would yield you something. Our ocean, the river Gambia. These are all things that can be harnessed for our benefit. And another great thing that we have is the human resources. We have that in abundance. What we've always lacked, though, is the genuine leadership. Genuine leadership. Leadership that is guided by what is in the interest of the people. Not what is in the immediate interest of a few. And the irony of our country is, and this is where all the voters must also ask themselves this question. Okay? You will live with coach in New Jersey, Shanghai. Every day, New Campbell will sit at the same place, drinking attire, doing whatever. Coach will be as poor as a church mouse. But as soon as coach is appointed a minister, within a month or two, his whole life is transformed. Before you know it, the coach who could not even build a bankubung will now be building a mansion somewhere. And have you ever think about how is this possible? And it's not like coach is this businessman who has so much profit and wealth coming in. He is an employee who is earning a salary. A salary that should not be enough to build you a mansion within a year or two of even working in the government, more over 6 months or so, or 3 months. But then, while this is all happening, you, the voter, who entrusted the president with the power to appoint coach, continue to live in abject poverty. When your kids are sick, you have to go to a newspaper to ask people for help so that you'll be able to buy medication for your kid. When your child graduates from high school with distinctions, because of the culture of whom you know, not what you know. Your child, because you come from a very poor background, will have to run to a newspaper. I need help. I have this many credits. What my mom cannot pay for my schooling, my dad cannot pay for my schooling. Can I get help? And this is happening in our country. Begging the question, why must we continue to allow this to happen? Because at the end of the day, let's understand one thing, that power resides in us, the ordinary people. Because without us, there will never be a president. Without us, there will never be a National Assembly member. Without us, there will not be a minister. Without us, there will not be an army, there will not be a police. We are the architects of our own destiny and nation. And this is what Doi has been trying to teach the Gambian people. Know yourself, know this world, and you shall be the commander of your own destiny. The reason why for the past 5 years, everybody is talking about elections, 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 elections. The reason why some parties, you see them now, they said, oh, we are giving our Ramadan food to people. We are giving these people that we're here. They are coming to you campaigning day and night. It's because of the power that you hold as a voter. But if you hold that power, why must you use that power to your disadvantage? Why must you continue to vote for people that will not empower you, but people that will take power from you to benefit themselves? Why must you vote for somebody who would force you to have to go to a newspaper to ask for help so that your daughter's medical bills will be taken care of? Why must you vote for somebody who, when your child does so well in school and has to go to a university, that they would have to run to a newspaper to beg for other people to help them? That is the fundamental question that one must ask oneself. If you are a voter, that's the question you should ask yourself. If a politician comes before you, interrogate them, ask them questions, know who they are. You see, character matters. That's why we always say that in Doi. Because the politician that comes to you and gives you his word, if that person is not guided by concepts, they will just walk away from that. Because to them, what is important to them is not your advancement, but your vote. When they need you, they come every time. I was watching a movie. It's here. And the movie, in trying to get attention for their town, a small town, they decided to have a very interesting live program. And somebody who was a respected colonel in the army, a retired colonel, decided to give a very powerful speech, one that was very inspiring. As soon as he did that, he got the attention of some political gurus. You know, you have them everywhere who will come and try to tell you, oh, you know what, we are a political strategy, strategist, we can help you in your campaign, we want you to run. So they forced the guy to run, not knowing that it was all a plan. Before you know it, there was a lot of attention in their town, because now it was a mayoral election. The story was too good to be true. The media had shifted their focus to the town. Now all the political parties were now interested in this town. Or this colonel is running, that colonel is running, so we are all going there, converging. A lot of money was pumped in, of course. But it turned out that it was all a plan by the retired colonel and some of his guys to gain the attention of the people. And one of the strategies was, but why did you do this? And somebody said, you know what? You guys don't care about us. To you, we are just a battleground state. If you know what that means here in the United States, there are states that are, they are neither Democrats or Republican. Anybody can have them. So they always have a lot of attention. That you guys just come here every 4 years when you need us. As soon as you have our votes, nobody sees you again until the next elections. You see the trick? And this is how some politicians treat our voters in the Gambia. The only time you see them is when it is election time, or when they come in their gas guzzling SUVs with all the dust that they bring with them, give you all these lofty promises, and then go away with their expensive cars and leave the dust in the villages. They would come again when elections are near. And this is where all of a sudden they realize you need help during elections. That's when they all of a sudden realize that you need help. They'll come with the Sako Malos, the Sako Gertes, Sako Sukurs, the Galoni Diulins, and all these things. Now, all of a sudden, and say, you know what? Our people in Ger Angale, they are important now. They bring all that. It may not cost them nothing. Chances are the malos may even come from something that is given to the Gambia by the Japanese government or any other government. So they come and give it to you. What was yours? Now they are giving it to you so that you will vote for them. And if you're not careful, you will vote for that same person who did not give a damn, sorry for my language, about you and your suffering until they needed your vote. You will vote for them and they will repeat the same situation. And this is why we are our people are continuing to live in abject poverty. Because the rice they give you would contribute within a month. When that is all done, you will not see them again until elections are close by. That's what they do. But the reality of the matter is you, the Gambian people, do not need handouts from any political parties or political leaders. You are the hardest working people, especially our farmers. But what happens after you've cultivated your farms, after you've toiled and moiled in those farms, how difficult the farming is? Sometimes when I see our women who are growing rice, see them in that water, with the water up to their chest, doing the most difficult work. And when you're all done, the government would buy your products for pittance. They would discourage you from selling it to other people who may be able to buy it some more. And what they would they tell you? Well, you know what? You see, I've heard that thing in the National Assembly one time. You see, what we do, we go out of our way to make sure that we provide them with fertilizers. But when they have, some of them would go and sell the products to other people. Are you kidding me? Fertilizer? Because you provide them with fertilizer, so you want to give them with the right hand and take from with the left. That's what they do. And again, if it weren't for DOI, this past rainy season, the government would not have increased the price for groundnuts, because what they were buying the groundnuts for was less than half of what it is being sold for in the world markets. But when DOI came out again, like they've been doing since its inception, to say, wait a minute, this does not add up. This is the world market price. Why is the local price this? That was when the government decided to say, we understand. But this is the reality of our people. We have to be able to change that reality. We have the capacity to change it. We must have the wherewithal to do it. And when we change it, you're not changing it for a politician. You are changing it for you. Because when you change it for you, this is what it is. Because whoever you vote for, like all of you say, gis nga loo rendeti sa laxo bi lay nacha. If you vote for a bad leader, bad leadership. If you vote for a great leader, great leadership. And a great leadership is what's going to make your life better. This is the reality. They come, they enrich themselves. We've seen the buildings all over the place. You are elected into office or appointed into office. Within 3 years, your life is transformed beyond recognition. The mansions, the cars. Before you know it, your kids are now studying in the United States of America. That's where they go to school, universities. When your wife is sick, America. When you are sick, Belgium. That's what you do. But you, the voter, who put them there. When you are sick, you go to a hospital without medication. Or you go to a hospital where you have to share oxygen. That's what they do. You use it for a few hours, they take it from you and give it to some other one. Chances are even the cannulas are not changed. The oxygen cannulas, they have to be changed because there's, cross-contamination. It's not just enough to say, oh, I've just wiped it. No. Everybody who uses an oxygen should use his or her own cannula. And that is that stuff that you put on your nose and this thing to be able to breathe through. But they will use the same cannula from somebody who has pneumonia and pass it to somebody who has an other disease. And before you know it, you'll go to a hospital with one sickness and come out of there with 3 different others. And the only reason for that is the lack of development. And the lack of development is not because we are not capable of developing ourselves, it's because the monies that we get as a country is not put in where it would benefit you, me, and everybody else in the country. I've asked this question. Since you were born, anybody, have you ever heard of a minister saying that, you know what, I was driving my official car and it broke down in the road. I had to look for a lift to take me to work. Have you ever heard of that? Or the minister does not have a car. Or my ministry, even my utility car does not arrive or hasn't arrived. The first thing that they do when they are appointed ministers, they go to whether all these other car salesmen and buy the most expensive and the newest cars, 0 mileage, 0. But for you, the person, the taxpayer, the voter, the person who put them there, when you need an ambulance, can you hear me? When you need an ambulance, they come with an excuse, the budget. When we send the budget to the National Assembly, they reduce this. You see, the National Assembly sometimes will reduce everything. But the cars of the ministers, oh, believe me, they would find a way of making sure the government, the executive, that those cars are there. And the president, the car that he drives, the 28 senior drivers that they have at the State House, they make sure they have all they need. But for you, they said, since we don't have that, we have to improvise. What is the improvisation? How do they improvise? They will tell you, well, you, the person who lives in Kabakamba, or Sutukonding, or Ngeen Sanjal, or Kawurdandimayo that will provide you donkey carts as ambulances. Donkey carts. Sareti Bab Suf as an ambulance. Now imagine the saret and the donkey cart in those roads, pam, pam. That alone can just raise your blood pressure to an unimaginable level. Imagine that you are in labor, the pain. Now you have to sit in a donkey cart that would take you maybe miles before you get to a hospital. A hospital, maybe even if you were to go in there, chances are you will need to wait for a bed because there may not be any bed, or maybe you'll have to share a bed, or they will put you on a gurney. And chances are they are not even disinfected because the hospital did not have disinfectants. You will see somebody, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and the person was just explaining the situation when she went to a hospital in the Gambia. And this nurse who was wearing one pair of gloves, visiting one patient to the next, because chances are they do not have even enough gloves. They'll come to the one with diabetes, touch. Go to the one with TB, touch. Go to the one with malaria, touch. Go to the one with fever, touch. So the cross contamination that is happening there. And these are all things that are avoidable. But it would not change unless and until we take charge of our destiny. And unless and until we start electing leaders who are not only competent, but compassionate. Who are not only compassionate, but honest. Who are not only honest, but dignified. Who are not only dignified, but patriotic. Because if you just want to continue this trend, anything that you've done for 56 years and have not seen any benefit in it, you have to sit and ask yourself a question. What am I doing wrong? And what we've been doing wrong for so long is focusing on what is politically expedient as opposed to what is politically beneficial to our people and country. And the issue is not only the current president. We have to be able to look at all politicians that are coming before us. As we stand, as we are now, where we are now, there's at least about 17 political parties. And there is a great chance that another 3 might be approved to make it 20. We've already heard that there will be at least about 4 independent candidates. All these people are aspiring to run our country, which is great in a democracy. But then, this is where we also have to, like I would say, tame. Isn't the Shiv Latura also? You tame it. We have to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff. Otherwise, unfortunately for us and our people, our women will continue to ride on donkey carts as ambulances. Our children will continue to be sick without proper medication. Our sons and daughters will continue to do very well in school, only to have to turn to philanthropists to be able to go to a university. Not because they should not be going to a university, but because of the culture of whom you know and not what you know. We have to have a very fair system of governance. And to have that fair system of governance, we have to have a leadership that is fair. a leadership that is content and patriotic. And if there is one thing that has been proven, you see, when I speak, of course, I am DOI, and this is a DOI platform. But the reason why I feel very comfortable in talking about DOI and its leadership is because I know that whatever I say here can stand the test of time. Because the leadership of the party have demonstratively shown that what interests them is not self, but people. This is why they take their salaries and give it to people. This is why they've refused everything that is luxurious, because to them, it would be the biggest betrayal if they were to start enjoying life while the people that they purport to fight for continue to live in abject poverty. This is why they continue to live a very humble life. And my fellow Gambians, we have a duty to not us only, but to the future generation of Gambians. My generation have failed the Gambian people. Because from independence to now, we were supposed to be the generation that was supposed to uh, uh, transform our country. But unfortunately, this generation of Gambians have continually failed the Gambian people, not without the help of our fellow Gambians, though. That's why these are our collective failures, because we continue to entrust very untrustworthy people with the leadership of our nation. So our duty and responsibility is to bequeath to the next generation a Gambia that is greater than the Gambia that we now live in. It will be criminal if this trend continues. Thank you, Cher. You are in the Gambia, so you're seeing it with your blatant eyes. Because what our leaders have done is that they have robbed of our people of their dignity. You see, there was a time in the Gambia when people will never want to go and beg. So people, even if they didn't have food, would put water in a cooking pot, light fire under it, and act like they were cooking something just because of the pride that Gambians had. Because to them, they wanted to preserve their dignity. Because to them, there was no dignity in begging. But today, the culture of beggardom has taken a firm root in our culture, because our people are suffering. There are people who are employed, but seriously underemployed because of the salaries that they are paid are not living wages. We've mentioned that here a number of times. And that trend must change. Anybody who's been in the diaspora and been to the Gambia, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's been to the Gambia from the diaspora, you know what I'm talking about. The naked poverty, suffering of our people. And what really pisses me off the most is that the hardest working people in our country are the poorest people in that country. Go to the provinces, the amount of poverty in their country. But these are people who work so hard. You see their hands. They are so hardened by hard work. The rainy season is coming. As we speak now, chances are they are getting themselves ready to go to the farms again and farm. The women who would dig wells that are 2 feet, 3 feet deep. That's where they will draw water from. They have their narcos. They work day and night. At 4 o'clock in the morning, they will be up. If they have little children, they will tie those kids behind their backs. They will go and turn the soil. They will go and water their gardens. They will go and do everything possible because they don't want to beg anybody. And from there, they will run to the market to try to sell some of their produce so that they will be able to have money to feed their families, to send their kids to school. That's how our people live. That's why when I hear people say, oh, you're lazy, I'm like, you must be crazy. You're not lazy. We have a governance system that is not inspiring, one that is not giving them an opportunity. And that's the problem. And under a DOI government, we'll make sure that those farmers, this is why we talk about the cooperative banks. So people will call it socialism. You ask them, all of them will tell you a similar thing. Oh, I think that's a great idea. The people who will tell you that's socialist are the same people that were clapping for the Gambia Cooperative Union. Do we remember that? That was mismanaged. They would applaud it. Oh, PPP, that was a wise thing. DOI is talking about cooperative bank. Oh no, that's socialist. The Gambia needs a socialist system to rescue it and her citizens from the suffering. When Europe suffers, when America suffers, you know what they run to? Socialism. This is why when the COVID-19 hit, what did they do? They pumped billions, actually trillions of dollars in programs that are supposed to help the people. They call it the stimulus package. Stimulus. Or small businesses, we'll subvent them. Or if you've lost your job, we'll give you payments every month, every week, so that you'll be able to take care of yourself. You talk about it in the Gambia? No, socialism. You see what happens? There is socialism for the leadership and wicked communism for the masses in the Gambia. That's what we have. The leadership, they have socialism. Their needs and aspirations are taken care of. But when it comes to the masses, they have a wicked capitalism where it is you are on your own. Do what you can to survive. That's what they do. That's what we have. Wicked capitalism for the masses and a very progressive socialism for the elite, the leadership. Do not be fooled, my fellow Gambians. Do not be hoodwinked. Do not be. You've been fooled and hoodwinked for too long. Do not allow it. This is Gambia's last chance, I believe, to take a turn for the better. If we neglect it and do what is Yamanex, Sabarge, Benachiniek, the Sakumalos, and all this thinking, then you have a problem. We cannot continue like this. We must not continue like this There is a solution, a genuine solution. And that solution is none other than the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism. We have a candidate in Halifa Ababakar Saleh who has, who has, who has consistently demonstrated love for country, contentment, dignity, integrity, and patriotism. A man, whenever Gambia is in trouble, whatever crisis you may call it, he would be in the middle of the crisis trying to calm the situation. April 10th, 11, when the kids were being slaughtered in the streets, it was Khalifa Saleh who was out there trying to calm the situation, trying to save the young people. When there was a big riot in Serakunda recently, it was Khalifa Saleh who was there, talking to the security forces, talking to the young people, trying to calm the situation. When Gambia was at its most dangerous position, stage, with jet fighters getting ready to come and bombard, with sandbags being placed in every corner, with all the big guns being taken out, the nation relied on the wisdom of Khalifa Saleh to calm the nerves of the people. And I implore you to give Khalifa Saleh a chance to salvage our nation by ushering in a Gambia of liberty, dignity, and prosperity for all Gambians, irrespective of your political orientation, your ethno-linguistic orientation, your economic status, your religion, or whatever. Because in DOI, we believe in equality of the masses. And we believe in ushering in a government that will be beneficial to all of us. With that, I thank you all so very much. Well, just want to remind everybody that the lady who is in need of help, it is in the 4 paper today, whose 16-year-old child is sick and she needs about $8,500 to be able to help buy the medications that were given prescribed for the daughter. To reach out to her, her number is 209-4065 or 678-6142, or you can call Foria or contact Foria and they'll be able to get you through to that person. With that, I thank you guys so very much, and we shall be back here next Thursday. Hopefully, Edie would be able to join us and we'll have another beautiful conversation. Thank you guys so very much.